Yeah, so now by now we have discussed multiple value addition techniques. Now let's talk about a very critical one, which is lightweighting. As I told you earlier, lightweighting is the favorite for aerospace and automotive industries because for automotive industries, the simple funda is that they want to improve or increase a particular ratio, which is denoted by power upon weight. So they always want to improve the power and they always want to reduce the weight. And the same funda is true for aerospace. Why in automotive? Because kitna deti hai. That is the basic funda that Indian automotive market is being driven by. So basically, if you are able to improve the power, if you are able to reduce the weight, you are improving the efficiency of the vehicle, and you can run more number of kilometers with a good vehicle design. And in aerospace, every particular gram cost in thousands of dollars. So that is why aerospace, it is highly recommendable to use as lightweight components as possible. So the way of creating lightweight components, there are multiple ways of creating them, and one of them is topology optimization. So topology optimization is basically the optimized layout of material within the structure, within the geometrical design area. So you have to design basically that this is my design space, this is my non-design space, and the software or algorithm which has been set by certain rules, it will automatically put material in the area where the loads are passing through or where stresses are high, and wherever there are negligible stresses, it will remove material from there. So basically, you are putting material wherever you need and you are removing material from the areas wherever you don't need them. Now, the goal while doing topology optimization is that we have to maximize the part performance. Now, this part performance is being affected by multiple factors such as the loading conditions, the boundary conditions, the constraints, the material properties, and all these factors together are fed inside the software algorithm, and then it comes out with a particular design which you work on a bit like smoothing and other things, and then the design is ready to be printed. So what you see on your screen is a typical workflow for topology optimization, where you start with a solid block of component that has to be optimized. You design the design space, non-design space. Now, for example, wherever the bolts are going, you will define that area as non-design space. You cannot have material in those areas. Now, the software will run an FEA, finite element analysis, and generate the stress map for the particular component under the loading and boundary conditions. Now, once the FEA has been done, the software will get the result that which areas are of high stress and which are of low stress, and it will only keep areas where high stress is occurring. And that also you can define what you want the factor of safety based on the factor of safety and the percentage weight you want to reduce. It will add material and remove material. So this is what topology optimization means. Now let's look at some examples. Here you can see the previous example, that depending on what objective you give to the algorithm, 30%, 40%, 70% weight reduction, it will generate different kinds of designs. Then we have a very interesting chassis for a bike, uh, which was designed by AP Works. Now, these chassis are a single structure chassis. The interesting part is that they have been designed in a way that the material is optimally laid at the areas where the stresses are occurring. And rest of the area, there is absolutely no use of putting the material. So imagine in a conventional chassis, if you're putting material everywhere, uh, around 30 to 40% of the material is not required, and that is the advantage that you can have through 3D printing, because making such complex designs is only possible through 3D printing. So topology optimization is an absolute way to go for if you want to have minimum weight of your component without affecting the functionality of the component. Then another concept is generative design. Now in topology optimization, you give some certain conditions, constraints, and your objectives, and it creates a design. You work on the design, and if you don't like the design, you can change the parameters that you had input, and accordingly, it will generate a new design. Whereas in generative design, what happens that number of design options are generated by the software. So here you can see this is a bracket for General Motors, which was optimized using generative design in Autodesk software. And the software basically gave 150 design options. This is a component which is mounted on the seat for your seat belt. So now now the designer has a wide variety of options. If they want to try 4 5 different design iterations in the first prototyping or first product development stage, then they are welcome to do so. They can choose the best depending on their preference. So this is the difference between generative design and topology optimization, that generative design is considering multiple scenarios and generating the design, whereas topology optimization is exactly asking you for each and every scenario, the particulars of the scenario, and then they are generating the design. Now, let's talk about part consolidation. What you see on your screen on the top of the image is your conventional component. So it is made up of number of components. One component here you can see, one component here you can see, then this component has been welded to this component, and there are so many nuts, bolts, washers, and three components I can clearly see. Now the same component can be used can be produced as a single part in 3D printing. This is called as part consolidation. And not only that, you can even reduce the wall thickness because 3D printing allows you to provide such ribs on the parts. So this particular scenario, 42-piece assembly has been optimized into a single part. And the advantage of it is that you don't need an inventory for so many nuts, bolts, and different parts. You don't need welding. You don't need time to do the fastening of the nut and bolts to join number of components together. And the complete part is being manufactured at just one single place. So this is the advantage of part consolidation. And that is the reason why I have brought here one more example, which is to do with the your heat transfer industry. So these are basically heat transfer devices, and these devices, earlier you must have seen a radiator in your car which you are using. So they are made up of multi hundreds and two hundreds of aluminum sheet metal parts welded together, whereas using 3D printing, conflux technology is producing custom made heat exchangers for each and every application for their customers. And these heat exchangers are uh, are having hundred times fewer parts than conventionally manufactured components. And because of having less number of components, the production time of such components are also reduced. And conflux technologies is making this particular heat exchangers in only 16 days, and this is being made for the rocket company called as Relativity Space. So aerospace is the most favorite or most favorable customer of additive manufacturing, I would say. So now, one more example, I would want to show you two more examples to be precise. This is by Desktop Metals, where they have produced this particular fuel fluid connector assembly, which is used in a chemical processing industry as a single unit. Now, this particular component was being made earlier through by manufacturing 8 separate components and then joining them together through welding and press fitting. So all that assembly and different manufacturing stages gone, just one single manufacturing method, 3D printing, and after that some machining on the component, and then the component is ready to be used. Here, what you see on your screen is a It's a now, traditionally, this part is made by cutting the threads on a lathe machine, and then they are these both these gears are manufactured separately, and then they are assembled with set screws and adhesives. But using 3D printing, this is produced as a single part. So this is the advantage part consolidation is offering us. Now let's try to understand whatever we have understood for related to part consolidation in this module. Let's try to summarize it. So definitely, if we go for part consolidation, we use less. We end up using less material. We eliminate all the joints, and thus the failure risk associated with all these joints are also gone. You are eliminating processes of assembly, which helps you achieve a low labor cost and low labor consumption and low energy consumption. Also, your requirement of skilled labor, such as welding or other techniques, that is completely eliminated. Now there are less number of components, and those components can be easily produced through 3D printing, so they can be produced on demand. So this is another advantage of part consolidation. And definitely, since we are reducing the number of components, we are reducing the number of assembly stages, we are reducing the manpower involved in assembly, we are reducing the inventory. So all these things end up in reducing the risks associated with supply chain, and all can be done under one roof, and that particular skill set of that particular facility or service bureau can be monitored very easily. So these were the broad points of part consolidation, and I hope you now understood what are the different value addition techniques and where are they being used and how to achieve these value additions. So we will learn about a few of these specific techniques in the future modules. Thank you. Have a great day.